Hey guys, how's it going? This is the Bald Metal Nerd coming at you with another lovely vid, and this one is inspired by a comment left on a video that I did about a year ago about the end of FM radio. I was talking specifically about how it was ending in Norway. And I was kind of contemplating the current state of FM radio, if it were to go away here, yada, 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 yada. I'm not really looking to rehash that, but a gentleman by the name of Marty Jewell left this comment on the video, and it gave me an idea for this. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read a bit of the comment, and then we're going to expound on this topic a little bit. He responded with, "Hey guy, interesting video. I am what you refer to as the aging demographic. I still rely on FM, mostly classical for music. I don't own a smartphone, not into MP3 or C3PO. That's actually pretty funny. Gigabytes, megabytes, not a freaking clue, my friend. You're probably too young to remember FM in the 70s. And then basically he talks about how cool FM radio was back in the 70s and how it's a stuff of slice of time from our music industry. Our music history, and it's sad that it's going away, yada, 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 and just talks, kind of reminisces about, the old days of, what it was like. And first of all, Marty, I want to say thank you very much for watching and commenting on that video. And I have no idea if you're watching this or not, but thank you regardless. Anyway, on this video, I know I wax poetic a lot about the past. When I talk about various audio things, I'll talk about how things were back in the old days. And but this isn't really about the old days. This is more about aging audiophiles or audio enthusiasts or whatever you want to call yourself. Maybe not adopting the latest technologies when it comes to audio, right? And this has been a theme for a long time. Audio enthusiasts maybe not adopting new technologies for a variety of reasons. It goes back really quite a long time. Probably the first example of this, the earliest example is, when the transition from, at least the initial transition from vinyl to CD happened, there was a fairly sizable vocal minority of audiophiles who did not want to let go of their vinyl records. They said CDs were sterile and cold and sounded bad, right? That was kind of their reasoning for not wanting to go to CD and sticking to vinyl. And to be fair to the audiophiles back in those olden days, it was, at the time, kind of true. Early CD masterings were not the greatest thing ever. No recording techniques had been perfected for the medium yet. In a lot of ways, early CD transfers were lacking compared to their vinyl counterparts as far as sound goes. So that's not entirely incorrect. Of course, it got much better as time went along, and it didn't take long for CDs to pretty much decimate vinyl because of all the inherent superiority of the CD format, of course. And then, fast forward a little bit to the late 90s, early 2000s, right? When MP3s, flooded onto the scene, right? Tons of audiophiles were like, MP3s sound like shit compared to CD. CD is vastly superior to MP3. I will never adopt MP3. MP3s are a waste. Well, if you were listening to, 128K MP3s made by the earlier encoders that were passed around on, say, Napster and Kazaa and LimeWire, yeah, those sounded pretty fucking awful, right? I mean, sound quality on those really bad, especially compared to the CD. Now, fast forward a few years, when the encoders got much better, hard drive space got much more expansive for cheap, and you could get high quality encodes at 320 kilobit per second, which is, basically indistinguishable from the CD original as far as sound goes, and then MP3 becomes a much more viable option, right? And then an even more recent example of that, of course, are the streaming services, right? A lot of audiophiles say, oh, the streaming services sound terrible. It's all compressed. It sounds like shit. I'll never adopt a streaming service. Well, again, that used to be true. Streaming services sounded absolutely horrific back in the early days of streaming. Now, at least with paid options, the audio quality is much better. So, what's the theme here, basically? The theme is there's a sizable amount of, for each generation, I'm not just picking on one age group, but it seems like folks will get, excuse me, entrenched in a mode of operating, and when something new comes along, they may refuse to go along with it for any number of reasons, legitimate or otherwise, right? And here's my take on it. My take on it is when something is brand new, as in right out of the gate, a new technology, it's going to have a lot of imperfections in it. There's going to be a lot of problems with it. But if you wait just a couple of years after the technology has been released, and you pick it up, then you don't have the problems of the early adopters. The quality goes up significantly, and the problems go down significantly, right? So in my opinion, it's not unreasonable to not adopt something right away, but just to never adopt it out of pure stubbornness, it's a bit much for me. I mean, I've adopted pretty much every new technology since the CD, right? Because I was when the initial vinyl to CD transition happened, I didn't own any vinyl, so it didn't really matter. But, I went to MP3. Now, as far as streaming goes, I sometimes do that. I don't refuse to do it, but to me, a reason not to adopt, maybe a reason. Now, here's what I would think a legitimate reason to not adopt streaming services would be. I think there's a couple. One would be perhaps you don't want to pay for yet another subscription. Like, do you necessarily want to pay $10 a month for a music subscription? 10 to 15, whatever the range is. And I'd be learning to be like, no, I don't want to pay that. And truthfully, I have so many subscriptions to so many damn things, so many monthly bills. I really don't want another one just for music. And honestly, that's kind of understandable, right? So I can kind of see not adopting it for that reason. Another legit reason I can think not to adopt a streaming service is rights issues. If artist catalogs, come and go from streaming libraries, then you don't have access to that music anymore, even if you're paying the fee, because maybe the rights holders of band X say, like, oh, I don't want it on this service anymore, so off it goes, which is really annoying. We already kind of accept that with video services like Netflix and others. It's a constant irritation. But I think the difference between, say, Netflix and a music service is Netflix is not my only source of video entertainment. I have many other choices. Netflix is just kind of how I supplement my video watching. So if something disappears from Netflix, it's an irritation, but it's not the end of the world. Whereas if I am only accessing music through a subscription service and music I love goes away, it becomes a major problem. So there's that. Maybe you don't want to use data on your cell plan. But now that you can download tracks, but whatever. So there are legitimate reasons not to adopt something, but sound quality really is no longer a reason not to adopt streaming services. Because I believe Spotify's paid tier is 320 kilobits, and I know that obviously Tidal is out there, and there might be a few others that offer lossless streaming. So audio quality is no longer a reason not to adopt it. So maybe another reason people don't adopt new things is just simply they don't want the expense of adopting it. They don't want to, or maybe they just don't want to learn something new. They just don't want the hassle of it, which I get that to a degree, but if something can actually be an improvement, and I think in a lot of ways, a lot of our audio leaps forward have been improvements overall. I think it's worth the expense and the trouble if it is actually an improvement. If it's not, or if it has too many issues, maybe avoid it. Whatever. As for myself, I'm a mix, you know. I've adopted most of the new tech. No, I don't pay for a streaming subscription, but whatever. But I do regularly preview music on YouTube before I buy it. I'll listen, you know, or I'll stream it somehow before I'll buy it. I do that a lot. So I definitely have a foot in the modern age. I'm certainly not eschewing it in favor of just listening to CDs and nothing else. That would be like the equivalent of me just listening to CDs on my CD player in 2017 and nothing else. That would, honestly, in my opinion, be patently ridiculous in this day and age. You know, because there's so many ways to listen. So anyway, I do also go back in time and listen to archaic formats too, for fun. You know, vinyl and cassette. Yeah, I know there's lots of aficionados or whatever, but and CDs are even, who am I kidding? CDs are archaic at this point. All physical formats of music are fairly archaic and in a lot of ways obsolete at this point, but they're hell of a lot of fun. You can tweak them, you can have tons of fun with them, so that's why I still mess with them. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me know in the comments below what you think of any of this. You know I kind of went all over the place, but hopefully there was some entertainment value. As always, if you like this, thumbs up. If you hate me, thumbs down. Share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.